and Shaq's who's going to finish second in MVP voting this year, is right in the thick of things here. The Magic is coming in to form. We're going to see them in a minute. There's the Pacers with Reggie Miller that just had their thrillers with the Knicks over the last 2 seasons. There's a lot of talent in this season where the league is still feels up for grabs, right?
Yeah.
And the baseball strike happens, right? So the MLB went on strike. I'm not a super big baseball fan, so I don't know the specifics of this that serious. But basically, they were going to use replacement players from the league that Jordan was playing in because he was in the D League of baseball. And Jordan sided with the MLB players and walked out of camp, right? That's how the story goes. So then apparently, according to BJ Armstrong, he calls BJ Armstrong and asks what he's doing. And BJ's like, yeah.
I don't know.
He's like, I'm not injured. I don't know where else I'd be.
Yeah, exactly.
He's like, I'm going to practice. And so they go to practice together. Now, Jordan had gone to, I like the switch up. Jordan had gone to a Warriors practice with Run TMC earlier that year. And he had played in a charity game with Scottie Pippen where he completely smashes in between these 2 periods of time. Also, fun fact, this statue was released after the first retirement, which means when he comes back, you're going into, for years, you have to play the guy whose statue is literally in front of the building. Think about that. Imagine if LeBron's statue was outside Cleveland when you went to play the Cavs, right? After he left the first time.
Yeah.
Like, that's crazy. I didn't realize that when I up until doing the research for this, I thought that this statue was made after the second retirement. I really thought that.
Yeah.
And to find out that he's going to win 3 more rings with that's
and they retired his jersey too, right?
Yeah. And I think that's why he came back as 45.
Well,
but
at least that's not why he says he came back as 45, but
yeah, we'll get to that in a second. But he plays 2 games, he goes to the Warriors practice, and then he comes back to Bulls practice. And apparently Michael Jordan is the easiest person to trigger on planet Earth. Because all you got to do is look at him and go, I'd beat you in one-on-one. I'd smack that ass any day of the week. Old, you haven't played in years. You retired bum. Fuck you, Baldy. And so then.
Did you really just say those words? Fuck you, Baldy.
Hey, takes one to know one. So if basically, according to BJ Armstrong, he went from being in sweats to basically being in a full one-on-one game, right?
Yeah.
And so now he's practicing. And so slowly the media starts to creep in.
Yeah, I think he went to like 3 of the Bulls practices in that 1 week at that point. And then the media just kind of started obviously swarming the place once they found out MJ was there. Little dick riders. And it pretty much became a media frenzy after that.
I think it was Bill Wennington who, in The Last Dance, he said, when I walked in, there was just a different feel. And I didn't know what the deal was. It just seemed to be there seemed to be a little more media around. And I asked somebody, I can't remember who he asked either, but he said, I asked somebody else on the team, and they looked at me and said, the man is back.
Yeah.
That's fucking tough.
Yeah.
That's tough. So he comes back in March, right?
Yeah. But the dopest thing is how he came back. Like the
famous facts.
Yeah.
Have that here.
The famous facts just saying I'm back. That's pretty dope.
His agent.
That's super badass.
Yeah.
Like you could understand why people were infatuated with this guy.
Yeah. And the story is as compelling as the facts, because apparently David Falk, his agent, said to him, or sent him multiple different letters for him to approve, right?
Yeah.
And he hated all of them. But he would do this sucks, but I don't have any better ideas, so do something else, right?
Yeah.
And so finally, Falk looked at him and said, "You write the fucking thing."
Yeah.
And he turns around and writes, "I'm back." And that's it. That's the famous facts. That's known as the famous facts. That's all I had to do. I typed in on Google the famous facts. It came right up.
Yeah.
Along with some old looking fax machines. But "I'm back" is tough, right? And I wonder what I think I'm gonna try to find the ratings for this first game, because I imagine it was they probably sent NBC out there.
Yeah. So I know in The Last Dance they had people talking about the tickets, and they were paying $200-300, and some guy said these things could be going up for $2,000, and I'm still holding on to them. So like, and then right now that doesn't sound super crazy because of this like now, but $2,000 in 1995 is significantly more than $2,000 now.
Facts. That's a
like
fact.
That's just inflation.
It doesn't seem like that long ago.
An economics class right now.
Yeah.
But $2,000 then is probably like $4,000 or $5,000 now.
Yeah, that's fair. It just speaks to, again, this is the same guy who has a statue in front of his own stadium already while he's still playing. I can't think of another guy who's got that, who ever had that. That's why it broke my brain. But I bring it up.
It's the way it's the retiring twice.
Yeah.
The thing that
no one genuinely thought he would come back. There were people who were probably like, "Oh man, I hope he comes back. He's still got the game. I don't know why he's doing baseball. He's terrible at it. Like he's ruining his basketball prime." But when you put a statue up for somebody and you retire their jersey, odds are they're not coming. You don't think they're coming back, you know?
Yeah, for sure.
But he comes back due to the
only
strike.
thing even remotely similar to this is Magic Johnson retiring earlier.
True,
but
where Magic's going to come back and look big as fuck, look ginormous in comparison to when he played, Michael's going to come back thinner than when he was playing at the height of the 3 championships.
Yep,
right? Because he's in a baseball mode.
Mm-hmm.
So he, according to his trainer, he completely changed his body for baseball.
There's a certain amount of arc that goes on a basketball shot to maximize the space on the rim. When you throw a baseball from right field, you can't put an arc on the ball. It's got to be from point A to point B as fast as you can. So you have to retrain the whole shoulder muscle, what movement it's going to do. So the exercises we did for basketball were not applicable for baseball. When he came back and he started to play, we had a discussion with him, and I said, "Michael, there's not enough time to transition your body," because he came back at the end of that season, and I said, "There's not enough time to transition your body from baseball to basketball. For you to be playing at the optimal level that you were before," I said, "there just isn't enough time."
No. Yeah.
And he does. He looks leaner. He does look like pinned out.
Yeah, according to his trainer and him, he said it himself.